Good morning to everyone in Germany and good afternoon to our participants from India. We are very happy to welcome all our guests for this extremely crucial and apt webinar, Yogic Keys for Stress Management based on modern research in neuroscience. My name is Meera Dalvi Sani and I am the Regional Director of the ICICI Pune office. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Santosh Pai from ICICI Bank and Mr. Sudhanshu Walia from ICICI Lombard, our partners for today. Mr. Pai is the Zonal Head and Senior Client Banker at ICICI Bank. He is a seasoned banker with over 2 decades of experience in various areas of corporate banking, agribusiness, domestic large corporates, and global multinational clients. At present, with over 500 multinational relationships across 40 countries under his portfolio, Mr. Pai handles both local and global relationship origination and coverage. He is also instrumental in establishing and leading the multinational clients business at ICICI Bank. In his free time, Mr. Pai works actively and passionately in the areas of free child education, free food, and medical assistance to the poor, especially in the rural and tribal areas, and various socio-care projects in Mumbai and Maharashtra. Currently, he is also working on a project of skill development. I'm sorry. Sorry, give me a minute. I'm sorry. Currently, he's also working on a project on skill development, training, and capacity building in the area of affordable and free healthcare. We also have Mr. Sudhanshu Walia, the Corporate Solutions Group Head for ICICI Lombard in the Pune region. Mr. Walia has been with ICICI Lombard for 17 years and has worked in almost all verticals like corporate, SME, retail, and government business. Additionally, I'm also happy to welcome our 2 guest speakers, Dr. Aditya Gait, who is the Spiritual Director at Ananda Pune City Center. Dr. Gait is a trained rural surgeon and a Yoga Alliance certified yoga teacher. We also have Dr. Amit Aggarwal. He's a physician, a researcher, and also an associate professor in SKN Medical College, Pune. They are both inspired by their common mentor, Swami Kriyananda, a direct disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda, who traveled and lectured worldwide on yogic teachings in daily life. For the last 4 months, the concept of normal life as we have known it has completely been disrupted. As news keeps coming in, information can be overwhelming and scary. Most of us are handling multiple matters like dealing with at-risk family members, keeping children occupied, working from home, or simply adjusting to the new situation. As we watch the events around us unfold, it is not unnatural to feel increasing stress and panic. Owing to this, the prime agenda for individuals as well as corporates in recent times has shifted to wellness and well-being. Many corporates are evolving their employee wellness initiatives extensively by introducing webinars on Ayurvedic nutrition and its benefits, virtual yoga sessions, and respiratory exercises. Several companies are also reaching out to counselors, psychiatrists, Ayurveda experts to help employees also boost immunity. Mental wellness, as we know, is the foundation for productive and creative employees. Today's webinar is a small initiative to support our members in their wellness pursuit. We hope to create a positive difference through our wellness specialists who will share simple tips and practices that can be added to your daily routines for best results. Moving ahead with the program, I now invite Mr. Pai to give his opening comments, post which we look forward to the interaction with Dr. Gait and Dr. Aggarwal with our guests. We will also have a Q&A session at the end, and the participants can post their queries in the chat box on their screens. I request everyone to kindly post clear queries so that we can give you the best guidance possible. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Mr. Pai, you can commence now.
Thank you, Meera. Thank you very much. Thanks for your kind words of introduction. It's indeed a privilege to partner the Indo-German Chamber of Commerce. It's a very, very interesting seminar or a webinar, as you call it. Uh, in fact, very coincidentally, we were talking to a lot of our clients who came back to us saying that let us have presentations away from world economy, from global finance and corporate presentations. Let's have something really different and something which is very relevant to the current situation. So I think the topic today of yogic keys for stress management, I think it is one of the most apt topic for the current time and situation that we are in currently today. Who amongst us would have thought maybe 3 months back that the whole of the world would be under lockdown? How many of us would have thought that a majority of businesses, factories would be closed? The kind of migrations scenario that we have seen. We are currently seeing hunger, we are seeing death, we are seeing disease and despair all around us. I don't think any one of us would have imagined this to happen maybe 3 months back. Today, if you take simple common words like like children, school, career, performance, job, I think the common denominator for all this is the word called stress. So if we have ease and order, which is taken away by this word called stress, I think we are just left with two words called disease and disorder. In fact, even if you see the recent World Health Organization reports, which clearly point out to stress being one of the main culprits of causing physical ailments. In fact, therapy companies are reporting a good 60-65% jump in their of people reporting cases of mental disorders. We are seeing pharma companies posting high numbers, especially on products of antidepressants, uh, which is selling like anything which is never ever sold like this before. So what is it that we need to do is, I think, address very clearly something called mental health. So I think this is the right time for this kind of a seminar, for this kind of a webinar to happen, and nothing more than having uh, one of the seasoned doctors on a panel. But having said all this in terms of the despair and gloom that is all around us, but I think the optimist or the eternal optimist in each one of us is just saying one thing, which I can, if you allow me to use those Sanskrit words, etadapi gamishyati, which is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which says, nothing is permanent, this too shall pass away. These are all passing clouds. So things will be good, things will be better going forward. And at this juncture, I thought it is an appropriate panel even to express my own experience or my own personal discoveries that I have had in terms of the keys. The topic today is the keys to stress management. So some of a couple of topics or a couple of keys which I have discovered myself in my own personal journey. Uh, one of the first one stands as the practice of yoga. None of us today can ignore the power of yoga, the gift that India has given to the world, the way it is growing in popularity, the number of people who are adopting and taking to yoga. People are clearly talking about life before yoga and life after yoga. So it is one therapy which directly addresses the body, mind, and soul. It addresses your thought, word, and deed. It addresses your core of your being, of your own integrity with your own five senses. So each one of us would have experienced this for ourselves. So yoga, of course, is the first key which I discovered in my life, which gave me tremendous uh, benefits. The second key, called meditation, which comes straight out of yoga, in fact, is something which helps you to stay in tune with the universal energy. It is said, when we pray to the higher energy, we are talking to the higher energy. But when we meditate, it is the higher energy which talks to us. So I think it is one of the key aspects to connect ourselves with the universal energy. Then is the key of gratitude and giving, giving back to society. In fact, I was reading a very interesting WhatsApp message which was saying that if you have food on the table, if you have a family to be with, if you have a job, and above all, if you're healthy, safe, and having a good health, I think you're already part of the top 10% in the social strata of the world. It's such a powerful thing, right? So we have been blessed with this. So the idea of gratitude and giving back to society, I consider, is one of very strong keys. So these are some of the keys which I discovered myself. So I just thought maybe I should share with all of you. And as they say, every crisis has a teaching, every crisis has a learning. So let us not forget to learn from this crisis. Let us not, let this crisis go waste in terms of our learnings. This is a time for looking inward. This is a time to look within ourselves, go back to our basics, look at our own culture and spirituality. And I think the topic today, which I've selected, is absolutely apt for the situation that we are in currently. So once again, on behalf of ICICI Bank and ICICI Lombard, I invite all the participants for this wonderful event. In fact, we have a great panel of doctors, the fraternity which is absolutely in the forefront today in the fight against COVID. So our deepest sense of gratitude and salutations to you, sir. We have Dr. Amit, we have Dr. Aditya with us, who are going to take us and give us those wonderful keys to our lives, something which is very, very important and very, very apt at this point of time. So I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this wonderful seminar. So thank you so much and welcome. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Pai, and thank you, Meera. And a wonderful and beautiful good afternoon to all of you friends over here, and also our dear friends who are joining from Germany. My name is Dr. Aditya, and I'd like to share for a few minutes, and then Dr. Amit will come and share the slides. And basically in the next 50 minutes or so, we hope to first of all, make the case very simple. Stress can come from many reasons. COVID-19 has led to some stress. Earlier, it would be traffic for people. It could be relationships. It is finances. Stress can actually come from any aspect of our lives. But here's the interesting thing that the study of yoga, meditation, exercise, diet, these key components of our lifestyle have taught me that we can only control stress to some degree. Actually, in the case of COVID-19, it has become very clear. It is highly unpredictable. We don't know what's next. So in my analysis one day, I remember some years ago, how do you manage stress? Because Amar and Amit, I call him Amar, that's a pet name we have. But we both were studying this session, and I said, we can not control stress actually entirely. It will come where it has to come from. What we can control is our response to it. And so today we want to share, friends, some very simple things, how to enhance, you might say, our physical capacity to handle stress, which is, you might say, immunity, how the body feels, our mental and emotional capacity, that if a problem has come, let's say in the banking sector, let's say in your project, in your health, how do you make those right decisions? How do you emotionally keep yourself calm? How do you carry your team across? All these things are affected by our mental and emotional stress. And as Pai Ji was suggesting, Mr. Pai was suggesting that perhaps there is a higher energy, and how can we connect to that? Well, it all comes down to our experience and how we manage those situations. Now, I'd like to share something, friends. It is yogic keys. Yoga is a very ancient science, but what Dr. Amit and I will share is going to be extremely simple. And let me give you a hint of that. If tomorrow morning the headlines came, as Mr. Pai was suggesting, that pharmaceutical companies are having a lot of sales for antidepressants, mood stabilizers, counselors are going very busy right now. Imagine if tomorrow's headline would be that a 40 to 50% reduction in stress, stabilization of heart arrhythmias, better sleep, vastly increased immunity, good mood, a joyful attitude, just by taking a little pill with no side effects. You can imagine how much that company would make. Well, the good news is such a pill exists. All you and I have to do is take it every day, and that pill is simply called our lifestyle. And let me tell you how simple that lifestyle needs to be. How we sit. That makes a lot of difference, a major difference, they say in yoga, to our moods, to our ability to handle a situation. If I say, well, I don't know what can we do about this. Well, you see, I'm dejected and my spine bends forward. On the other hand, if we keep our posture straight, which you won't see a yogi ever like this. A yoga is all about not a stiff spine, it is a straight, relaxed, accepting. You accept situations as they are, and then you go from there. So a straight spine is very important. Once you have a straight spine, they say our breathing, which is essentially, it should be diaphragmatic, that breathing is facilitated, and research has shown that a lot of symptoms of hypertension, nervousness, anxiety can be affected positively by that. Let me come to the third tool. If somebody told you the position of your eyes could affect your mood, how would you feel? In sleep, we look down, and that's how we enter sleep. It's a subconscious state. Right now, I'm looking straight towards you, and that's a conscious state. Through neuroscientific studies, through functional MRIs, they have found if you gently lift your gaze up just by 10 to 15 degrees above the horizon, and if you close your eyes, it leads to actually a reduction in the, you might say, the subconscious flow of thoughts, which, by the way, can reach up to 80,000 thoughts a day for many people. 50 to 80,000 is the range. But if we keep the gaze up, which we do in meditation, we look up. That's why if you think of many yogis, Guru Nanak, Mirabai, any Buddha, in even common paintings, they just somehow show their eyes are up. There is a reason behind that little yoga practice. And similarly, when we meditate, when we focus on the breath, it is very important too. Let me give you an example. How is our breath when the mind is agitated or fearful or confused? Think of a Tom and Jerry cartoon. When they are fearful, their breath is irregular, it is fast, it is erratic. After the breath stays erratic, in time, very quickly, it can affect the heart rate, which is called cardiac arrhythmias. And in an extreme case, it can lead to a heart attack. It can lead to death. And of course, when heart and breath rate are irregular, nobody can be at peace. So instead of controlling our emotions and mind, the teachings of yoga say that work with the breath. Once the breath is regulated, the mind and feelings will follow. And now finally, friends, how important is it to control the mind? Is it even possible? I mean, if you told me control, do this with your left hand, not right hand, and it's easy to control. I'll just put my one hand in the pocket and operate with the other. If I told you it is better for you and me to operate from the front part of the brain, the prefrontal lobes. And Dr. Amar will show us some slides where the benefits of that is situated. Just to name a few, every decision you and I make happens in the forehead at the point between the two eyebrows in the prefrontal lobes. Every decision. Your personality is situated over there. Kindness, cooperation, creativity, which we all need so much. Perseverance and resilience. I'm speaking from surgical and neurosurgical books over here, friends. These qualities have been found to be exhibited more when we operate from the front part of the brain rather than the back side, which again, I'll leave it to Dr. Amit to share about that. Then you may ask, how can I know which part of the brain I'm operating from at any given point? Scientists can know because they can see it on a functional MRI scan, but you and I can also experience it by doing certain practices. And finally, yoga and meditation helps more directly, but also diet, exercise have a role to play. But today we'll focus more on yogic and meditative tools and pranayam techniques. And in a minute, you will be seeing Dr. Amit, who, by the way, just half an hour ago has come from a COVID-19 ward. He and his wife, Dr. Mansi, they manage 180 patients who are active cases in an ICU in Pune. And for me, I often give his example in these times because he has children at home, he has his parents at home, and as you can see, he's offering in his free time these workshops. It is really nice to see that these teachings work. And Amar and I have been doing our best in the last 12, 13 years to practice these teachings. So I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Amit now with his slides. If you have any questions, friends, we'd be happy at the end to take those. But let's look at how this works in our body and brain, and then I will lead us in a little practice session. Over to you, Amit.
Thank you, Aditya. So I'll be just taking you briefly over this PPT slides, and these are very few, so it's not going to take more than 10 minutes. I hope my screen is on the is being shared. Sana, is it there?
Yes, we can see your screen. We can see the GoToWebinar platform right now.
Right. So friends, as you know, that the topic that we are going to share is basically based on some recent modern research that has happened in neuroscience. And if you are just having curiosity that who was that great gentleman, and his picture is on your screen now. His name is Andrew Newberg. And he was very curious to see, just like as Mr. Pai was saying very pertinently, that yoga is almost more than 7,000 years old science, and people were talking about yoga for all these years that it works. But nobody, as far as scientific evidence was concerned, people were always saying, but where is the evidence? So this guy, took that step, and he was curious to see what happens in a brain of a person who practices yoga, who practices meditation. And this was all possible in last 15-20 years because of the functional MRI scans, where we can take a serial scan. And right now, if you see on your screen, this guy was taking scans, let us say, when a person was coming to him on day 1, and after, let's say, 1 year of practice, and then after 3 years of practice, and after 10 years of practice. And so he could serially observe not only what are the structural changes in the brain that is happening, but also functionally which areas of the brain are getting more activated or deactivated. And what he found in his research, which he actually compiled in a book, which I'll show you recently in just a few moments from now, what he found was very staggering. He found that just 12 minutes of regular meditation was actually bringing structural changes in the brain if it is done regularly over a period of time. And one of the most important changes was that the brain was growing in mass and thickness, and especially the gray matter, which is composed of neurons. And so you can now, just about another 20 years back, when I joined my medical school, people during those days, scientifically, it was a fact which was being shared in medical schools, that brain does not grow beyond the age of 5. But this was not true, friends, because the recent studies indicate that brain is having tremendous capacity not only to reprogram itself, but to regrow itself. And it all depends on how we are using this great gadget that nature has given us. So what he found in his study was that after even if somebody is doing 12 minutes of regular meditation, functionally his brain will be becoming more alert and attentive. He will be able to gather more and perceive more data. His reasoning abilities will get enhanced. He will be able to learn new skills. His memory will also be improving. And on the emotional front also, friends, he will have greater self-control, because many of these cardiac centers, as Dr. Aditya was sharing with us, are being regulated from the brainstem area. So with that background, friends, if we go further, as Dr. Aditya was sharing with us, that the functionally, if you see the part of the brain which is right behind the forehead, and this is visible on your screen now as prefrontal cortex, this is the most evolved area of the brain as far as human beings are concerned, because animals do not have this forebrain. And even in this forebrain, which is highlighted here on the screen, the part which is right in the front, which is just behind the forehead, is called the prefrontal cortex, which is also known as the chief executive functioning area of the brain. Now, very recently, not about 10 years ago, not before that, scientists have found that this is the area which helps us in decision making, and or not only in decision making, but also if it is activated, it gives us calmness, it helps us to have greater clarity, it helps us to have solutions to our problems, and also it is responsible for the creativity, which is helpful for seeing, for having new insights, for having foresights to our problems, and also bringing a greater harmony, which can help us in having greater harmonious interpersonal relationships, and above all, it is giving us happiness and joy. Now, this was not possible to study just about 15-20 years back, as I told you, because not the technical know-how was not there, and now it was possible to see that the blood flow was improving in this area, the electrical signals were improving from this area, and functionally and behaviorally also it was possible to see what kind of changes are happening. So with this kind of background, friends, now let me just give you a brief overview that how this helps in stress management. Because if you see, if we can just simplify the subject of stress, now there are two centers in the brain. Right now you have on the screen, one center is being shown with the red triangle shown as amygdala, and the other with the green oval, which is right behind the forehead, and it is mentioned as prefrontal cortex. Now, if you see the stress, because stress is something, as we will see, that it is not entirely unhelpful, because stress has a purpose. If we see, nothing in nature is there or it cannot last unless it is serving some useful purpose. So certainly stress has a purpose, because if you see, if let us say if a building is on fire, or if somebody is under pressure to run for his life, then this area, which is called amygdala, which is a part of the limbic system in the brain, it starts firing. And this area, since it is connected with electrical wires through our brain and spine, with almost every organ in the body, right from our eyes to our heart to our liver. And so immediately you can very well imagine that if somebody is under stress, if he has to run for his life, his heart will pump faster, because it's a pumping machine. It will take the blood pressure up, because the muscles are consuming a lot of blood flow. Similarly, the liver has to pump a lot of glucose in the blood, because the glucose is acting as a fuel. So if you see, under stress, all these things are common experiences, that you start having sometimes palpitations because your heart is beating faster, the blood pressure goes up, and the sugar levels also go up temporarily. And once you are in a safe place, then the center which starts getting this part of the brain, which is responsible for the stress generation, automatically starts getting deactivated, whereas this green oval, which is shown here as the prefrontal cortex, starts coming into the picture, and you naturally feel calm, your blood pressure normalizes, your sugar levels also return back to normal. Now, this is a situation which is how the nature wants it to operate. But what happens, friends, sometimes is, as we often see in modern life, as Mr. Pai was also rightly pointing out, that in modern day scenario, sometimes the stimulus for the stress does not go away. Now, people sometimes are feeling insecure because of their job, or because of the health challenges, or because of some interpersonal relationship. So when the stimulus doesn't go, the stress response from the amygdala keeps on going on and on and on. As a result, it is not a surprise that if you see most of our health systems, if you see people sometimes have insomnia, or they become hypertensive, many of them become diabetics, or they start having gut issues. So if you see, stress is a common link there, and all these health challenges, which we are seeing in our society today, they are all linked with this one common denominator. But the solution, friends, is very simple here, and it all lies in this green oval, which you can see here on the screen. Because as Dr. Aditya was also pointing, that if we can learn and help, and here also yogic techniques are coming to our rescue, that if by using these yogic keys, if somehow we can activate this green oval, then naturally this amygdala will start calming down, because they have a reciprocal relation, because when one is active, the other automatically shuts down. So, and today we will be sharing with you some of these yogic keys which will help not only to activate this prefrontal cortex, but also to strengthen it, so that by and large, more and more, most of your day activities you are able to perform from this part of the brain. And the greater experience we will have doing it, you will see that you will have a greater control over yourself and greater control over your circumstances as well as your life. So finally, I will just show you the picture of this book in which this whole study is being compiled. The title is How God Changes Your Brain, and it is not written by a priest, but it is written by a neuroscientist. As you can see, the author Andrew Newberg is available on Amazon also, or you can read it as a fun reading as an ebook also. And just to give you a brief background, because this workshop is not going to be theoretical, very quickly now Dr. Aditya will take us into an experiential session where he will be sharing with us these few keys which I am just pointing out here, that how to sit properly, how the upright posture will be able to help us, because this, and similarly the energization exercises, these are very beautiful tools which Dr. Aditya will share us. These are yogic exercises. They help us to have greater blood flow in our frontal part of the brain. And also the breathing techniques. Now you can see in this slide, friends, that part of the brain which is highlighted, the frontal lobe, the prefrontal cortex, is very close to our nose. If you see in this slide, the roof of the nose, if you see from the nostrils and go higher up, the roof of the nose is very closely positioned with this part of the brain. So if we can observe our breath attentively, and this is one of the key things, which we practice as a pranayama in yoga, that when we bring our attention into our nose, try to feel the breath, try to have full attention there, and not only in the lower part of the nose, but it is actually in the higher part of the nose, then the front part of the brain automatically starts getting stimulus, and you will see and experience, not only you will feel in your body, but you will also feel that your mind is getting calmer and also staying centered. And we will practice this very soon from now. And finally, I will also, if time will permit, we will give you a short routine of just 12 minutes, which you can do almost daily. So now I will request Sana to take us into the poll, the pre-session poll. If she is ready with that, then we can have a post-session poll of the 2 questions. And so Sana, is the poll open now?
Yes, so we have launched our first poll, that is, how energetic are you feeling right now?
Okay.
So we,
right.
Yes.
And
so
how do we,
request, yeah.
So how do we, so the poll is open and then we have to.
Yes, the poll is open right now. So I will just request all the attendees right now to select any one of the option. And in about few seconds, we will launch the results.
Right. Thank you.
Dr. Amit, we have the results here in front of us. So 9% have selected the option of 9 to 10. We have 41% of the audience here who have selected 7 to 8, 42% 5 to 6, 7% 3 to 4. And actually, it's a very nice thing to see that we have only 1% who's in the bracket of 1 to 2.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yes.
is. Yeah. So excellent, Sana. So I would just like you to keep that record and just tell us, if there are changes happening post session. And now I will hand it over to Aditya for the session.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you, everybody. Let's take our pill and see what happens in 20 minutes. I really hope it works for all of us, University. So I'll request you to please stand up. And I'm going to move my chair, but you can just move yourself to a place where you have enough room just to swing your arms. And we'll do some standing exercises and then come back to our chair. And also please empty your front pocket because this will involve some bending forward. And just a little caution, only for the first exercise, that this will involve bending forward as I'm quickly demonstrating. Then we will all do it together. Anyone who is pregnant right now or who's had recent eye surgery or has very severe hypertension, please avoid this. You can simply do half range motion standing straight. That is also very beneficial. So let's begin with our practice, friends, and I'll take us through about 6 to 7, you might say, techniques, simple practices, and we will then in the end see how they affect us physically and energy-wise. So first of all, let's rub our hands together and we'll do a practice called the full yogic breath. We will simply breathe deeply. So let's take the hands up and inhale. Bring the hands down, breathe out from the mouth or nose. Go as far down as you comfortably can. Inhale, come up. This is a very simple practice. From now onwards, you can even close your eyes. Breathe out, gently bending forward. Go as far as you comfortably can. Inhale up, and as you inhale, expand the abdomen and fill the lungs completely. As you breathe out, empty the lungs. Breathe out completely, pulling the stomach inside. Inhale up. Gently arch backwards when you're all the way up. Exhale down and feel that you're expelling fatigue, tiredness, lethargy, even any worry or pessimism. Inhale energy, joy and vitality. Let's do 5 to 6 breaths now at our own pace. Just make sure you're expelling the air completely so you can breathe in more deeply the next time. Slow, long, and complete inhalations and exhalations. Now, the next time we breathe out, If you can, try to remain down in the position where your torso is in front of the legs, and keep breathing in this position. Try to feel the stretch behind the legs, in the back. And as we breathe in this position, friends, we are bringing a lot of oxygenated blood to the brain. And we are stretching the muscles and nerves in the spine and legs, which is all very good to feel relaxed. Let's take one more breath here. Breathe out from the mouth. With the next breath, let's come up slowly, bringing the hands to the side, and you can open your eyes. Now we will do something called the double breath. This is extremely simple also. Let me just show it to you and then we'll do it together. Double inhalation through the nose, short and long. Double exhalation through the mouth, short and long. Let's do this together. Complete inhalation and a complete exhalation. Please do this 2 more times. Now, this has been found to really oxygenate us more than 2 times of the normal breath and also decarbonize the body more than 2 times the regular exhalation. Now, as we inhale, we will tense the whole body, and as we exhale, we will relax the body. Let's do this together. Tense your legs and arms up to vibrating tension. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in. Tense the calves and thighs and buttocks, abdomen, arms, neck and face. Breathe out and relax. Few more times. Let's do this 3 more times at our own pace. Tense with all your will. Have you forgotten any muscle in the body which is not under your conscious control? Gather it in the tension. Breathe out and relax. One last time. Now these look so simple, which fortunately they are. But let me tell you, one of the practitioners of these wonderful exercises was none other than Mahatma Gandhi. These are a sequence of 39 exercises. They are over 100 years old, but he would practice them every day. And as you can see, friends, what's happening is tension is actually stress, you might say, is hiding all over the body. That's why we get tight in our shoulders. And Dr. Amar was saying we get problems of different body parts. So you gather all the tensions and then you breathe out and exhale. With the exhalation, you release it. So let's do 5 to 6 exercises. These are the energization exercises. Please stretch your hands to the side and let's breathe out first this time. Double breath out. Double inhalation with tensing the body. Vibrating tension. You have to use all your will. Breathe out. Relax completely. Breathe in. Tense. Relax now. Tensing up. Relaxing down. One last time. Arm rotation in large circles and think of some weights in your hands. Let's say 3 kgs. Lift them up. Tense up, relax down. Tense up. Relax down. One last time. Opposite direction. Tensing up, relaxing down. Stand at ease and tensing now from side to side with the same weights. Now this is really good to stretch open the ribs, and the diaphragm is also attached over here. Breathe out. The other side. As you can see, this is extremely good for our spine. One more time on each side. A little exercise for the fingers. Open and close the fingers. Again, this is so childish, but you do this for 1 minute, which we will, and you will see how important it is to do this practice. Many of you must be working on the laptop for long hours, and you will see very soon, friends, how happy your hands would be that you did this simple practice. In the front, open completely, close, and up above. Just a few more moments. Keep breathing. Can you feel something in the forearms? Wonderful. Let's bring the hands down. Let's take a moment just to feel how the arms are feeling with the blood flow, the deep breathing, the straightening of the spine that we have done. Let's move to the next exercise. Again, a very simple one, walking in place. And I want you to join me in saying a little phrase over here. I'm awake and ready. I'm awake and ready. You're saying this to yourself. I'm awake and ready. 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 I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. 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 One last time. I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. A little practice for the shoulders. Gentle rotations. Opposite direction. And one final practice. Let's close our eyes. Catch your breath. Mentally scan the body for the posture in the spine. Relax the shoulders. Bring them away from the ears. And especially relax the abdominal area, friends, so you can breathe more easily, diaphragmatically. And we'll do just 3 more rounds of the practice we started with, the full yogic breath. Let's rub our palms using the breath as an indicator. Breathe out. Perhaps your body is feeling more flexible now. And bring the hands to the side. That's all. Come back to your chair and just watch how I would like you to sit. Sit away from the back of the chair. Tushar, this light is blinking. Okay. So sit away from the back of the chair. Your spine is straight. And in the beginning, it may be slightly hard. But remember, you can develop that muscle tone which allows you. The spine was designed to stay unsupported in a relaxed way. It is very easy once we get it. So again, keep the palms on the thigh facing upward. Gently open up the shoulders by bringing the shoulder blades behind, opening up the heart and chest. Very simple. Please also be relaxed. Don't think this is to stiffen you up. Now let's close our eyes. Make sure you have a straight spine. The abdominal area is relaxed. And now, friends, just for a moment, open your eyes so we can position the gaze of our eye. And as you can see, I'm looking straight at you right now, but I'll gently lift my gaze by about 10 to 15 degrees. So I'm looking slightly above the horizon, like at a distant mountain peak or a low-lying rainbow in the sky. And now, keeping my gaze there, I will close my eyelids. So if I open them, you can see my gaze is still uplifted. Let's try to do this. So I'll repeat. The spine is straight. Palms are resting on the thighs, upturned. Abdomen is relaxed to allow diaphragmatic breathing. And the gaze is slightly uplifted behind closed eyelids. If you cannot manage the gaze part of the practice, it's okay. You can let go of it. And now, keeping our eyes closed, let's do some simple breath exercises for mental concentration and relaxation. This is called triangular breathing, inhaling through the nose, holding the breath, and again exhaling through the nose for equal counts. I will do just 4 counts. So let's inhale, hold the breath, breathe out through the nose, breathe in, hold, breathe out, completely pulling the stomach inside, breathe in, expand the belly, hold the breath, breathe out. More silently now, breathe in, hold, gaze deeply at the point between the 2 eyebrows, breathe out, breathe in, hold, breathe out. And now please do 5 rounds at your own pace. Continuing in the same position, friends, with our eyes closed. Let's come to the next practice, which does not involve controlling the breath, but simply observing it in the nose. So let's try to feel the coolness of the incoming air in the nose and the warmth of the outgoing breath through the nose and nostrils. Breath by breath. A very simple practice of deep mental concentration and relaxation at the same time. Now try to feel the same coolness and warmth about an inch above the nostrils, somewhere halfway in the nose. And finally, if you can, try to feel the air currents or the temperature of coolness and warmth of the currents at the point where the nose joins the forehead. Again, if you can lift your gaze behind closed eyelids at this point, very gently, that helps further in this practice. So let's take a minute to feel the air currents as high as we can in the nose, without controlling it, remember, just observing it. Now, just for a few moments, see if you can focus on the pauses between inhalation and the exhalation. It's a very little split-second pause. Become aware of it. We'll do this just for half a minute. Now, for the next 30 seconds, you can mentally say joy or peace at that rest point between inhalation and exhalation. Try this. It's as if you're saying it in the forehead. And now, friends, letting go of all practices and all focus on the breath so far, let's take one final minute to sit in silence with our eyes closed, to feel an inner stillness, joy, a sense of peace, especially at the point between the two eyebrows, the region of the forehead. Look for that stillness. And it's okay if your mind races once in a while. That's an observation. Look for that stillness, however, and let's try to focus on that for just a minute. Keeping the eyes closed now, let's inhale through the nose. Breathe out from the mouth. One more time. One last time. Inhale. And breathe out thrice from the mouth. And now let's gently open our eyes. So this was our little practice, friends. Perhaps, as you can guess, let's actually do a poll before I explain further. How are you feeling now? You'll see that question, and please give your feedback over there. Then I'll explain what we just did. Okay, let's see the results. Wonderful. Isn't that so nice that we have almost 90% over 7 to between 7 and 10, which is exactly where we want to be. And friends, this perhaps for most of you was a first time practice. Imagine if you could do this twice a day, thrice a day. It doesn't take more time. Today I was explaining for the most part. Amar will give us a routine for just 12 minutes. And that is exactly the research which was published in that book, that 12 minutes twice a day. And when this was done for 12 weeks in people who were over 70 years of age, all the positive benefits that Dr. Amit was showing us in the slide, they were visible at that age and stage. Some people had a recall of memory which otherwise was not there. Senile dementia, age-related forgetfulness had set in, but even that came back. The thickness of the brain was coming back. So this is truly a mental gymnasium, you can say. And it's not just mental, because the mind is where our emotions are processed. The way we look at the world, I was recently reading in a book, it was a fascinating observation. The author, Bill Bryson, was saying, he said, isn't it interesting that the whole world, the way we see it and the way it's processed is by the brain, which itself never sees the outside world. So there is a complex nature given mechanism between our ears and head and cheeks. It's inside. But if we can learn to operate that great machine in positive ways, and that's why I was asking, how are you feeling? If you're feeling energetic, if you're feeling more calm, and again, with practice, creativity, decision making, emotional control, all these things can come. But make no mistakes. the one thing which will help us all is practice. I mean, that's why I said in the beginning, Dr. Amar and I have been trying our best for now 12 to 13 years. And every time I see that some things can upset us, destabilize us, but you come back and you say, no, this is a situation I can regain my equilibrium. I can come out higher than where I was before. So this is what I meant by exercising the brain and this mental gymnasium. I hope you liked it. And just to recap very quickly what we did, we first, for the major part, worked with the body, because if the body is not stretched, if the body is not exercised or oxygenated or decarbonized, then we can't meditate. The body is very restless. It comes in the way. So first we did some full yogic breath and we stretched the spine and the nerves and oxygenated and decarbonized. Then we took it a step further with the double breath, that why not do more of this? And we tensed the body and we relaxed it. I'll give you a more simple example how universally people do that. When we wake up, people say, oh, they stretch and they tense and relax. So again, picking up on that only, these exercises have been developed. So it's extremely natural. Once we did that, we sat on our chair with the spine straight. Remember, which is essential for deep breathing. It's like if the spine is straight, everything else will fall in place. So breathing takes care of itself. We closed our eyes. If you can keep your eyes up, do that as a practice over the next few weeks. Straight spine and gaze up. You will see it is possible to develop that habit. Then we focused on the breath. So now we made the shift from physical relaxation to mental relaxation. So with the breath, focusing on the breath, remember in the beginning of the class, I said the state of our emotions and mind is reflected in the breath. So if we can control the breath, inhale, hold, exhale, do that a few times, then you see that you feel more relaxed, the breath slows down, and then we let go of the pranayama. The pranayama means breath control. So we dropped the control and we went into a further technique of observing the breath. Each person will have a different inhalation, exhalation, and a pause in between them. In the pause, friends, rest is found, deep rest. Actually, in Hindi, there's a word, vishwas, which means shwas is breath and vi means without. So when the breath is not flowing, we find a lot of rest. That's why in sleep, our breath rate is very slow and we wake up refreshed. If your breath is moving up and down, you won't be able to sleep or have a good sleep. So again, that practice of let's observe the pause. And then it's like when you observe something, it becomes big for you. So for one last minute, we focused on that. You might say we created a stillness and pause in the forehead, which actually is there also. I was guiding you to look for it, but inner peace is always there. Inner stillness is there when we've done all this homework. And then I hope, like your testimonial said, most of you felt more calm. So we just have to now do this more, and the brain circuits, trust me, this is exactly how the brain works. The brain circuits start rewiring the blood flow, the interneuronal connections. Give yourself 3 months and you'll be quite a different person in the same circumstances. So your ability to handle the circumstances and whatever else life brings is going to be much greater. So thank you once again. I'd like to invite Dr. Amit online. We are happy to take questions. And I'm sorry we slightly exceeded our time, but Sana, if we can take questions now, I'd be very happy to, and Dr. Amit too. Do you hear me? I hope I'm connected to others.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Are there any questions, Sana?
Yes, we do have few questions. So a lot of them are actually asking for the recording to this entire session, which will be available on our website. That's to answer most of the questions that have come in. We have a question. What is the best time of the day to do yoga?
Oh, early morning. You might say evening. classically it's said to be 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. and midnight. But let's say before breakfast and before dinner, friends, are the best time because your stomach is light. Now you can imagine on a heavy stomach, this wouldn't have worked so nicely because the body competes with blood flow and all those processes. So keep the stomach light first thing. Make sure if you had a good sleep early morning before you jump in the day, do this practice. I personally like to think of this as having a tank full of petrol before I set out on a journey, instead of worrying my energy and my petrol might run out. So early morning, before breakfast, before dinner, or 2-3 hours after dinner. Now here's another thing. If you can create 10-minute windows, 5-minute windows anytime in the day, do that. I have friends in the corporate world who tell me they do this for 2 minutes 6-7 times a day, and just 2-3 minutes can really recharge you. So those would be my suggestions.
Is there any practice for improving gut health? Is one of the questions we've got from the
Oh
audience.
yes, that's a whole subject in itself, because the gut is known as the second brain. First of all, I would say don't overload it. Don't overeat. We should eat when we are hungry. Hunger was meant to guide us how much we should eat. So don't eat out of habit. For example, today I didn't have lunch. I actually didn't even have a breakfast because I told myself I don't feel like having it. I had few nuts in the morning. And for this class, I just wanted to keep a light stomach. So let hunger be your guide. Secondly, friends, drink things like lemon juice, more curds, fresh fruit juices, and by the same token, raw vegetables, because those things really help our gut. I mean, the gut is, like I was saying, it has 36,000 different species of bacteria, healthy bacteria, good bacteria, which you and I need, not just for digestion, but for our brain. So the gut-brain axis is a very important one. How you feel in the stomach decides how you think. So again, eat fresh, organic foods are wonderful. Fast once in a while. Drink lemon juice. Lemon juice is incredible and keep it as plain as possible, which is to say without too much salt or sugars and spices, because it really kills the bad bacteria. It really invigorates the whole intestinal tract. And drink plenty of water. Again, avoid things like constipation, which are causing constipation. So these would be some guidelines for a healthy gut.
We have one more question. I had
Yeah,
a
Amit,
bit
why
of
don't you take
dizziness.
this?
Yeah, somebody is asking, I had a bit of dizziness. Is it normal for someone doing it for the first time?
Okay, I'll take this. I wanted Amar to, but because I made you all do the exercises, sometimes breathing too much can lead to little bit, you might say, hyperventilation. That could be the cause number one, especially when we were tensing the body and relaxing. So do that gradually, friends. If you overdid that, that could be the cause. But otherwise, no, it should not. Dizziness and other things should not be. But we can feel slightly lightheaded. Also, the position of your eyes can make you feel like that. So when I say keep the gaze up, it is like I'm looking right now and not very much up, which can give us a squint and a headache and strain and sometimes a little dizziness. So behind closed eyelids, that's why I was saying open your eyes once in a while so that you're not looking too far up or sometimes down, because when the eyes close, the body thinks, oh, it's time to sleep, and the eyeballs go down. So those could be some reasons, sir or ma'am, whoever asked that question. Just so we know, in an extreme case, if somebody had hypertension and they just overdid, it could be because of that, but I doubt, because we didn't do very strenuous exercises today.
So we have a quick fix question here. Which exercise would you rank highest to instantly reduce stress? I think we all need it.
I do that, so I'm going to share with the one I pick out, 9 energization. I'll show it to you so you will remember it better. Let's say you have to enter a meeting room or some seminar, or you have to go on stage or something. Just do this. Tense the whole body. And when I say whole body, maybe the camera can focus. I am clenching my feet, my calves, thighs, buttocks, abdomen, spine, arms, chest, and now finally my neck and face. I'll do this one, and the second one could be inhale up, exhale down, because it brings oxygen, takes away carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, you see, produces when it exceeds a certain limit acidity in the body, which again, stress causes the same hyperfunctioning, of the brain, too much worrying. Those things lead to buildup of carbon dioxide. So the full yogic breath helps with that. Secondly, it also stretches the spine and just makes us feel more relaxed in the body also.
Okay, and can I exercise right away after this meditation?
Yes, I was hoping Dr. Amit will take some questions, but it's all fine. Yes, you can, friends. You can see, you can exercise, go for your jog, do your yoga asanas or energization and meditate. Or after meditation, you can do those things also. However, some people prefer to be slightly quiet and create a slow transition between meditation and too much activity because you felt peace and you want to hold on to it. So I think a better thing after meditation to do would be, let's say, quietly make your breakfast, or don't straight away jump into news. Read perhaps some uplifting literature, or plan your day before the day gets to you. So you have this calm window and do things which are of most significance to you at that time. And here's another thing, meditative peace in the beginning does not last all day. So we need to recall it. Oh, I felt very good this morning. I wonder if I can feel like that in the evening. I wonder if I can do that when I'm driving to work. And please don't meditate when you're driving, but if somebody's driving you at that time, or if you're in a bus, that's really good. So again, you will have to create those pauses to recharge the experience.
With the kind of traffic in Bombay, I'm sure none of us can afford to meditate while we are driving.
But you can do even count breathing. Now that, don't close your eyes or don't look up, but inhale, hold and exhale. That, by the way, and just diaphragmatic breathing. There was a study where 40% reduction of people's symptoms of hypertension and stress and anxiety and restlessness was noted just by breathing diaphragmatically, which means, let's say you're driving. Just tell yourself, I won't be breathing through my chest so much. I'll just breathe relaxingly from here. Very few people know that the chief muscle of breathing is the diaphragm. It is the only muscle in the body which has both voluntary and involuntary muscle fibers, which is to say, if you do some practice of diaphragmatic breathing, the involuntary muscle fibers take over and it becomes a habit. So why not develop this habit of breathing properly? And that you could do just when you're driving. So there are things one can do.
Okay, so we do have a lot of questions actually coming in. But
If
I
you
think
have
we'll
time,
take just.
I'll invite Amar to now please take some.
I'll just call out another question.
Okay.
For breathing, is it okay to sit in Padmasana?
Yeah, it is fine. I mean, if you feel that Padmasana is natural to you, and if you're comfortable, you can do it easily and do it in Padmasana also. And otherwise, any sitting position, if you have any knee problem, chair is equally good. So please do not think that just because you cannot sit in Padmasana, then you cannot do yoga. So yoga is all about keeping the spine straight. And once you have a straight spine, just like in the profile now you can see with Dr. Aditya, you are perfect, in a perfect position. Your energies are rising and they are naturally rising to the brain and also coming into the front.
Okay. Somebody's written there was stress for some time between the eyebrows during the meditation exercise. Why is it so?
Yeah, that stress can come because we are straining too much sometimes, and that's why I really wish this was a, let's say, an in-person workshop and I could see you all. By the way, I'm just so excited. There were 500 people. There are 500 people over here. This is really an amazing response. But friends, what happens? Let's say we say close your eyes and focus here. This is what can happen. You focus, you're trying to focus, and normally focus involves strain, in our mind, but no, focus can be just becoming aware. Let's say I'm focusing on the camera right now, so just calmly focus and become aware. Same thing we have to do of this point. Become aware actually is more the intention than focus on it. So if you knit your eyebrows too hard, that can lead to some headache or discomfort. Here's the other thing, however, when we are doing pranayams, which we were doing, pranayam means breath control. It also actually, it really means control. Prana is the energy. That's why when somebody would die in earlier times in India, we would say unhone pran tyag diye hain, that the body is there but the prana has gone. So the prana is really energy, and when we focus here, sometimes you can feel more energy. So that is also what it can create, a little magnetic sensation. Once in a while one can actually even see an inner light or such. So prana, that energy, can express itself in 2-3 different ways commonly.
Okay, so we'll end the question answer round here. And Meera, can we have Meera?
Yes.
To
Can you hear me?
the vote of thanks? Yes, we can.
And Sana, just to add, if you think there are
Yes.
more questions, you could just email it to us, and Dr. Amar and I would be very happy to write back.
Yes, that's exactly what we're thinking, that the remaining questions, we'll email it, those questions to you all with the email IDs from whom it has come in, and we can take it forward over email with them.
Yeah, so I mean, we've run out of time. I know this, it was really interesting, and I'd like to mention already that we've got some great feedback. So we'd like to convey our sincere appreciation to Mr. Pai, Mr. Valia, the ICICI team, and obviously Dr. Gait and Dr. Aggarwal for this extremely engaging and relevant session. I do hope everyone has had great takeaways from the same. This was the first wellness webinar really hosted by IGCC, and at least I thoroughly enjoyed it because yoga, breathing, and gratitude practice is something that has kept me going for the past few months. I'd also like to thank all our members and guests for believing in our efforts and being part of our network. A big thank you to my colleagues at IGCC who made the session possible, Sana, Monaz, and Samiha. And this is for the members. As always, a recorded version of today's webinar will be available on our website. We will also revert on any questions that we were not able to answer today. We look forward to your valuable feedback, and do reach out to us for any support that you might require. Do stay tuned to our website and social media pages for details on further webinars and member engagements. So everybody, please stay healthy, take good care of yourself, your families, and your employees. Thank you once again. And just a small word of thanks also from the ICICI team. Ratnika, if you would like to speak now.
Sure, thank you, ma'am. On behalf of ICICI Bank and ICICI Lombard, I would like to thanks firstly to both the doctors for such a wonderful session, to all the audience who have taken out time and to join us for the session, and to IGCC team members, Ms. Meera, Ms. Monaz, and Ms. Sana, for having this entire event in a very organized and very effective way. So thank you, everybody, and please feel free to contact us for any assistance if required. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you, everybody. That's the end of the webinar now. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.